A quick overview from the back rooms of this Fujitsu Limited, focus there, N860-3141-T001 keyboard assembly with a sort of low travel Fujitsu leaf spring clicky switch. Currently I've got some of the screws out of there. This one's attached, this one's not. It has all the screws. I just took them out so that I could, take it apart and look at it, and then I reassembled it enough for this video before I fuck with it more. It's got this nice little connector for a cable, but yeah. And you can see the connector style here. This seems to be an industrial panel, but really, who gives a shit about that? Because this thing's weird as fuck. You can see the space bar here, or what's left of it. This thing came with a very thin, transparent sheet of plastic all the way over the top. I removed that, and I can't get it to adhere back on. It's like a phone screen cover thingamajiggy. And it also has this very brittle kind of cover to it that goes over these individual keys. You can see that they aren't stabilized keys. It just has like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 buttons for the space bar, rather than having a single stabilized key. And it's got these membranes over it, and they crack. Oh god, they were being like held in place by the thin plastic thing, but now that that's gone, this thing's fallen apart. You can just like rip bits off, and I've managed to preserve this cancel command button for the most part. You can see a little bit of cracking here, but it's mostly pristine. Let's see if we can hear the noise when I press on it as it breaks. You can see the new cracks. It doesn't come back up to where it should have been. And it gets lighter as it cracks. It was heavier on the first press. The membrane, now that it's cracked, it makes it a much lighter and less shitty switch. It also reduces the travel a little bit. It had like an extra, millimeter or so of height from the membrane-y thing here. I don't want to call it a membrane. From the cover thing, pulling itself back up under its own weight. And that made the switch a lot heavier. It's a much more pleasant experience when you're just pressing on the switch proper without this gunk on top. Without the gunk on top, gunk isn't really the right word. You see what it is. It's a sheet. Without that, this has exactly a 2mm travel. It feels like it actuates about halfway through, but it's kind of short. It's got that nice plate spring click to it, like you would expect from any clicky Fujitsu leaf spring. It's a little on the heavier side, and it's not particularly tactile. These are not unexpected for Fujitsu leaf spring of this variety. But what is interesting is that it's a short throw variant, and that it's sealed up like this. It should also be appreciated that the shift key here is 2 buttons, but this tall-ass enter is actually kind of funky, in that it is the only... Well, it's 2 buttons. It's got the top button here, which is pretty normal, but the bottom one here is extra wide. It is the only extra wide button on the board. It's also got that little cutout there. I don't know what they're doing. But it's a thing. These switches feel quite nice. They're very smooth. This is because it was totally fucking dust-proof with its first cover on, and also with the one that's remaining on here when it was intact, totally dust-proof. It's got LEDs around the side of the locking keys, although they aren't actually latching keys. They just say lock on top. The assembly is composed of the green PCB, the black metal plate, and then this sort of glued together laminate. That is the top layer of that laminate. You can see it's kind of flexible, and the top layer continues off. It covers the entire board, and it continues off into the horrible stuff on top of the keys. Ooh, it's nice how you can see it moving. God-awful stuff in its current brittle condition. Probably wasn't amazing in its initial condition, but, you know, for an industrial panel, you gotta do what you gotta do to keep the dust out. It was a sound decision at the time. My current scheme is to rip this top laminate off, rewire this bad boy into being an actual keyboard, and hopefully I will get to have a good time with short throw Fujitsu leaf springs and these weird funky keycaps, which I guess I'm just gonna have to fucking memorize them. I don't know how I'm gonna, like, deal with legends on these. I might have to grow 3 brain cells. I hope you've enjoyed this interesting little, not quite teardown because I didn't really take anything apart, but whatever this video was, I hope you've enjoyed. Take care.